YNWMelly's attorney, Drew Findling, has provided new details about a possible release timeline following reporting that originally appeared in XXL. After spending 7 years behind bars, Melly is again asking the court to grant his release. On Wednesday, March 25th, his new defense team filed a motion in Broward County requesting that a bond be set. His lawyers argue that he's been subjected to inhumane treatment, pointing out that he has reportedly been kept in solitary confinement since December 2021. They also claim he hasn't been allowed any visitors for the last 4 years and that his phone access has been taken away since 2022. The filing argues that these major changes, along with newly surfaced evidence the court has not previously reviewed, justify a new bond reconsideration hearing. His team plans to emphasize the harsh jail conditions as a key reason he should be released.
February 2020, Melly was involved in a multi-inmate fight inside the day room of his area unit and was given a DR for his role in the fight. October 2020, placed on a room restriction for refusing to go back to his cell as he was trying to hide while on the phone.
And developing now, there's a new push to get rapper YNW Melly out of jail. He's currently awaiting retrial for 2 childhood friends, but a new lawsuit alleges he's being held in inhumane conditions.
YNW Melly's attorneys have also connected their push for his release to a separate lawsuit involving the Broward County Jail. Reports say Melly is suing the Broward Sheriff's Office, alleging cruel and inhumane treatment, while at the same time asking the court to let him out. He claims officials have blocked him from seeing or even speaking with his family for 3 years. The news quickly spread through the rap world, with multiple artists publicly supporting him and calling for his freedom. In the lawsuit, Melly describes being held in a freezing cell, served food he says is not fit to eat, and kept with little to no human interaction. A conversation with Melly's mother also described alarming conditions, suggesting she fears he may not be able to withstand them much longer.
Son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
Jamie King said she is devastated by what her son is going through. She explained that she feels powerless, adding that she believes he isn't being treated like a human being while incarcerated. She encouraged the public to share their thoughts and opinions about the situation.
When you saw Melly's statement, just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life, as a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone.
The story spread rapidly online and sparked intense debate. Charleston White responded with an opposing view, saying he believes this is exactly how YNW Melly should be housed. He argued that Melly shouldn't receive different treatment just because he's a well-known rapper, and insisted people should focus on how serious the charges are.
The YNW Melly, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated. Yeah, I'm so happy he in jail getting mistreated, homie. Homie, when you take a life, homie, you ain't got a right to complain about a motherfucking thing about being mistreated when you done chose to play somebody.
The case also drew attention from rap veteran OG Booby, who spoke about the emotional strain Jamie King has faced during her son's incarceration. He highlighted the ongoing stress and pressure she has been living with throughout this situation.
Okay, so
I met his mama while he was in.
Oh, okay.
I met his mom while he was in, and she real, bro. You know, she real.
She's stressed out. I heard she had a...
Yeah, she real, and I reached my hand out to him, cause I'm real. Yeah, I reached out to him, bro. I met his mom, and she a good woman, bro. And when I see them mamas like that, it remind me of what my mom was going through, bro.
As the story went viral and rumors grew that YNW Melly might be close to going home, a major update came out of the courtroom. prosecutors introduced new information alleging that YNW Sockchaser had taken certain actions involving Melly in the weeks before his death. The state also presented a new possible motive, suggesting Melly committed the crime with Bortlen's help. According to reports, the information came from a YNW associate who spoke with police during an interrogation and ultimately cooperated, providing statements that prosecutors say implicate Melly.
Motive would Melly have to kill his two friends?
They just him off? I don't know, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up. Melly was on FaceTime, Melly like, y'all don't know, bro. Y'all don't know what Sat was doing to me. Y'all don't know what Sat was doing to me, bro. Like, saying it like Sat was some shit.
Detectives dug further into the allegations and found details that raised serious concern. They learned that YNW Sockchaser allegedly did disturbing things to YNW Melly in the weeks leading up to his death, which could have pushed Melly toward wanting immediate revenge. During that same investigation, they also came across an interview with an Exoblock member who claimed Melly had been contacting King Vaughn for advice on how to deal with someone.
Did Vaughn really tell you that Melly told him that he killed his two friends?
He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument. And so, you know, if you know, when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, Vaughn was mad at me. Bro, why you put up there, bro? Walk the bam. I'm like, you sitting up here, like, you know the love we got. You do this for us, but you gonna trust that his two friends? And he said, them was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around them?
This new information also helps explain why YNW Bortlen chose to accept a plea deal, and why that development could be especially damaging for YNW Melly. The plea deal is connected to Melly's release situation for one major reason. As many people expected, Bortlen took the deal and agreed to a proffer, meaning he is cooperating and providing information to authorities. He pled on an accessory after the fact charge and received a sentence of 10 years, plus 6 years of probation, with credit for time served and any gain time applied. His deposition has already been requested in the related civil case, and that opened the door for authorities to secure cooperation not only from Bortlen, but also from his ex-girlfriend, Mariah Hamilton, something that becomes important later. DJ Academics reported that the judge said Bortlen pled no contest on both charges and must provide a factual basis for the court to accept the plea. In other words, Bortlen has to give a real explanation of how the accessory crime happened, which indirectly confirms that the underlying crime Melly is charged with did occur. Academics described it as basically a plea deal with a proffer. Bortlen can't just say yes or no. He has to give a complete account, comparing it to Ghana's plea in the YSL RICO case.
The tweet out saying people are upset. I said this is a gonna plea. This is a gonna plea. This isn't a plea saying you have to tell or him, but this is a plea that you're going to have to provide all the details that they were missing to convict him. And that's why it's a gonna plea. Why do I say he signed a gonna plea? Because YNW Melly, and I watched the case, we covered it. YNW Melly's case is that, number one, you guys have not done a job to prove that this is actually they have proved, but prove that this is a homicide with this person being the offender. Also, the accessory after the fact plea confirms that Bortlen, that's kind of like almost like a sub part of a conspiracy, except you weren't with the conspiracy at first. You came in after the fact. What that proved is that they came in. What that proved is that Bortlen worked with someone after he acknowledged that a took place in trying to cover it up. You hear what I just said? When pleading to an accessory to after the fact, you have to acknowledge that it happened and you assisted someone or in some way to cover the. Now, if Melly's statement is, how do we know that? And then secondly, how do we know who did it? Because they said it was a drive-by.
Put more simply, Bortlen will have to explain what happened that night from his viewpoint as someone who was in the car. Even if he tries to avoid directly saying YNW Melly's name, he still has to confirm that Sockchaser and Juvie died as the result of events that took place inside the vehicle. And once Bortlen confirms it wasn't a drive-by shooting, it could severely damage Melly's defense, even if Bortlen never explicitly identifies him.
He will be flipping. He is going to be tell-all about anything he knows about the double case, and they will know if he's telling the truth or telling a lie when he gives his full quote-unquote confession as to what happened that evening. And that's what happens. A lot of times where guys are in prison for 4 or 5 years awaiting trial and looking at a life sentence, and they're offered 10 years where they'll be home probably in another 3 years that he'll serve, he decides to flip and become a cheese eater. And that's what happens a lot of times on these cases. And I was expecting it to happen a lot sooner than it did. He held out for quite some time. But long story short is it looks like he's going to flip. And it makes the case on YNW Melly, depending on what he says, which I anticipate he'll say that YNW Melly is responsible.
With prosecutors presenting a new possible motive and with Bortlen now positioned to cooperate, it also helps explain why the state didn't continue pushing the witness tampering case. Reports say YNW Melly will not go to trial for witness tampering because prosecutors dropped those charges. The case had been set to start on Wednesday, January 21st, but during a hearing on Tuesday, January 20th, prosecutors moved to dismiss it. At first, that sounded like good news for Melly, but the decision was viewed as part of a larger strategy. By dropping the witness tampering case, prosecutors kept the path clear to call Bortlen's ex-girlfriend Mariah Hamilton as a witness in the murder trial, meaning the state may now have both YNW Bortlen and Mariah Hamilton testifying against YNW Melly.
Mariah Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
It's important to remember that when Melly's trial started in 2023, Mariah Hamilton was wanted for missing court. Despite repeated calls and multiple visits to her home, police couldn't find her because, according to the claim, she left the United States at Melly's direction. Later, near the end of 2025, she reportedly decided to come back because she missed her family. When she booked a flight using her ID, it triggered an alert, and officers arrested her at the airport while she waited for her bags. At her first hearing, the judge allegedly offered a deal: testify against Melly and she could go free. She accepted immediately, which is portrayed as a major blow to Melly. After court, she posted on Facebook, "To my village. Thank you to my village. I love you all so much. God's plan, not mine." The claim is that this development gave prosecutors enough confidence to drop the witness tampering case while focusing on the murder charges. A reported 5-page memo said prosecutors dismissed the witness tampering charges against Jamal Demons to avoid risking the suppression of key jail call evidence that they say is crucial in the double murder case. The state argued that because the jail call suppression issue wasn't resolved, the witness tampering case created too much risk, potentially leading to acquittal and the loss of evidence needed for the 2027 trial. Prosecutors had accused Melly of witness tampering and gang-related conduct connected to efforts to keep Hamilton from testifying in the double murder retrial. Financial records reportedly showed Hamilton received more than $31,000 from Melly's management and associates, plus help buying a Mercedes despite no reported income. Investigators also pointed to jail calls, surveillance, and inmate kites, alleging Melly used inmates James Howard and Taryn as a relay system to send messages outside. The most serious claim in the file is that recorded calls and messages allegedly instructed associates, including YNW Bortlen, to keep Hamilton away from court using coded terms and nicknames, something that had also been publicly discussed earlier by YNW Juvie's father in an interview.
There was this kind of crazy way that Melly was communicating. He wasn't allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person's calling this person and then that person.
Saying like to me, they going through extreme measures, trying to cover up or convince people not to testify, like Mariah mom. They was using code words like Rihanna and A$AP Rocky's baby mom. And
even with all of that looking bad for YNW Melly, the judge reportedly allowed Melly and his lawyers to put together one complete bond release package to present in court to argue for his release conditions. The speaker claims they obtained the package and asks whether it's enough for Melly to be placed on house arrest. The package reportedly begins with material from the original trial where prosecutors acknowledged that no firearm was ever